maybe 30. Yeah.
So what is
It's
the type of the
it's
question?
kind enough يعني.
Well, is it subject verb agreement or verb tense?
Subject verb.
Subject verb agreement. When you glance the answer choices, you'll find singular, plural. So here we
Yeah,
have
there we
where
have
where
three plural.
yes, so we have plural, plural, singular,
Singular and
plural,
plural.
right?
Yes.
And we have different tenses. You agree?
Yes.
So I have two possibilities now. It can be either subject verb agreement, it can be verb tense, right?
Yes.
So which topic do I scrutinize first? Subject verb agreement or verb tense?
Verb tense.
Totally wrong. If you scrutinize verb tense issues first, you will waste the time. The rule is if there are two possibilities, subject verb agreement, verb tense, you must scrutinize subject verb agreement issues first, because scrutinizing the verb tense issues would be waste of time in most of the cases. For example, if you do it as verb tense question, you will be confused. Okay, I have here past simple and I have present perfect, present simple. What is the dominant tense? I see now 2021, so it can be past, so I choose A, while it has nothing to do with the verb tense at all. That is pure subject verb agreement question. Here we have the comma fanboys, comma, one of the fanboys, comma bar, right? So
Yeah.
I start writing a new clause, right? The subject of this clause is the word
Right.
writing. You agree?
Yes.
That is singular, plural,
Singular.
singular. So I choose the singular answer choice. I have one singular answer choice, which is C. So can I do it in like 20 seconds? Yes, of course.
Yes.
If I scrutinize subject verb agreement issues, the subject is writing is singular. I have only one singular answer choice, which is C. What
Yeah.
would occur if I scrutinize tense issues first? Mr. Ahab, I ended up with the C, but I scrutinized verb tense issues first. But you wasted time. If you scrutinize subject verb agreement issues first, you will end up answering this question in like 20 seconds, 15 seconds. While if you do the parts regarding the verb tense first, you will end up wasting time. We'll do this question in 60 seconds if you manage to answer it correctly. That's why you must scrutinize subject verb agreement issues. This is the difficult level of the College Board, guys, because these questions are from the practice tests of the College Board. And when it comes to the final revision before the trial, you must do it using College Board questions because they just imitate the questions. Well, so that is pure subject verb agreement. Question 20. "50 seconds. Go ahead. Give it a shot. Marvelous. Hussein Al-Aidarus, explain it, Hussein.
Okay, so first here we have the Alvarez theory, then a non-essential, so we can eliminate it out. Then maintain that the secondary effects of an asteroid to the end, it's an independent clause. And
So
then we
the
have another,
Alvarez theory maintained that thing, it is independent, right? From the
yes,
Alvarez to the without, it is independent. So let's write the grammatical equation. What comes before is independent. Okay. What comes after?
is also independent.
100% correct. It left unexplored the question of whether unrelated volcanic activity might have also contributed to mass extinctions. This is another independent clause. So that is the grammatical equation. Now, independent, independent. How do I separate two independent clauses? Go ahead, Hussein. Is A correct?
No, it's a run-on. We need a comma before but.
Excellent. So, independent, independent. Conjunction only to separate them is totally wrong. One of the fanboys. Well, answer choice B now.
Comma fanboys, yeah, we could use that. It's correct.
Comma fanboy is correct. Independent. Independent. Comma. But correct. But only no. So to make it clear, the only defect here is that there is no comma before the word but. So independent, independent, comma fanboy is correct. Answer choice C.
Here, no separation, it's run-on.
And excellent. Independent, independent with no separation at all. Here I write out, then I start writing the second independent clause with no punctuation mark. So that is run-on. Totally wrong. What is the mistake in D? Independent. Huh?
Independent, comma, independent, it's wrong.
What do we call the mistake?
Comma splice.
Comma splice. Totally wrong. So answer choice B is correct. Independent, independent, comma, fanboys, correct. That's it. What is important is to write the grammatical equation. I have independent before, independent after. Can I separate them using one of the fanboys only with no comma before? I cannot. Can it be comma fanboys? Yes. Can it be with no separation at all? That is run-on. Can it be comma separating two independent clauses? That is the comma splice mistake. So I end up with B. Very easy. Question 21. Give it a try and we explain it when you send your answers. Well, marvelous. Great, guys. I discussed it with Ahmed Ibrahim.
Yes, Mister.
Let's write the grammatical equation, Ahmed Ibrahim.
Okay. Here from although
Yes.
from those to cover, this is non-essential.
Non-essential, are you sure?
Yes.
So how come? So you want to get rid of that? What is your answer for this question, Ahmed?
See.
C. For what reason?
Okay, here from although he say although the monkeys prefer, so monkeys is the subject and prefer is the
Just
verb
wait.
here.
Let's discuss that assumption now. Now you say that from the word those to the word cover is non-essential, right?
Yes.
You say that is non-essential.
What, Mister?
You say from the word those to the word cover non-essential. Right? You say that.
Actually, it can be no.
It cannot be non-essential, of course, because if we assume that this is non-essential, it means you can get rid of it. If you just get rid of that, you will end up with a catastrophe, grammatical catastrophe. You will end up with subordinate clause, comma, participial phrase. Two fragments, right?
Yes.
It cannot be correct. Two fragments cannot stand alone. So that is subordinate clause. Although the monkeys prefer to eat vegetation and land-dwelling invertebrates, this is subordinate, right? After subordinate comma, what do I write?
After subordinate comma,
Yes,
we put an okay. We have put an independent.
100% correct. I agree with you. Independent. So this is independent. The grammatical equation is independent
Independent, comma, dependent.
plus comma. Excellent. Independent plus comma. How can I complete this equation to make it correct? I need a fragment. What type of fragments? Participial phrase. Participial phrase.
We can say
Appositive. Non-essential. Right?
yes.
So we have here answer choice C that provides participial phrase. Can we have such a structure in English? Independent, comma, participial, of course.
Yes.
Independent, comma, participial phrase is 100% correct. Well, it cannot be independent, comma, infinitive. This is wrong. It cannot be independent, comma, main verb. No, this is totally wrong. It cannot be independent, comma, main verb like in D. So the answer is C. We need independent, comma, participial phrase. The answer choice that creates participial phrase after the comma is answer choice C, forcing. 22. 22 is a very important question. Give it a try, guys, all of you. Marvelous. Great, guys. So here we go. We have 4 answer choices, 2 ending in periods, and 2 ending in question marks. So when to write a question mark? I write a question mark in 2 cases. Case number 1, if the structure begins with helping verb. Helping verb means I ask a question like, can you answer this question? So that is a question as it begins with helping verb. Can, could, shall, should, do, does, did, am, is, are, was, were. So you must write a question mark at the end. The second case, if the structure begins with a question word plus helping verb plus subject plus main verb. This is a structure of a question as well. So when question word, when, what, where, how, which, did you study? That is the structure of a question. It begins with question word, helping verb, subject, main verb. So that is the structure of a question. See? Well, but see now this structure. What you people, what you did yesterday was great. Now, guys, should I write a question mark or a period? I must write a period, of course, not a question mark. I must write period because this structure does not follow the pattern of the question. The pattern of the question is question word, helping verb, subject, main verb. Well, here, see what we have. We have a question word, subject. What you did. So that is, of course, a statement. There is not a question. What you did yesterday was great. So there is, okay, Abdurrahman.
Thanks.
That is so weird, actually. You know, I did. Yes, I saw him, but you know, I wouldn't admit this, someone with like period name. Cannot be. Well, anyway,
Yes, I know, I know.
no problem. Yeah. Okay. What you did yesterday was great. So that is a statement, not a question. Well, back to the answer choices. Here, guys, I begin with a helping verb and I write period at the end. This is totally wrong from the first glance. No need to read the text to get rid of answer choice A. Answer choice A is totally wrong. It begins with helping verb like could, am, is, are, was, where. So I must write question mark, not a period. I must get rid of answer choice C as well. For what reason? Because here, guys, we explained the 2 cases on which I write a question mark at the end. So here, there is subject, then helping main. It cannot be a question at all. This is a statement. This must end in a period, not a question mark, regardless of the text. No need to read the text to get rid of answer choice C. I have now 2 answer choices, B and D. Here, blueberry is subject with thrive verb. It begins with helping the main. Then I write the period. This is a structure of a statement, so I can write period, correct? Grammatically correct. And answer choice D, it begins with the helping verb and it ends in a question mark. That is 100% correct. So now, guys, we need to figure out whether we need a statement or a question. How would I know? I have to read the text to be able to figure out what I must provide. Should I provide a statement or a question? When I read, I found out that I must provide a question. Here we are talking about something we are not sure of, a mystery, dilemma, someone who cannot decide what occurs. And I say here, Michelle was determined to find out. Michelle was determined to find out. Find out, like to figure out, to solve a mystery, to know the reason of. So it means that what comes before is a question. Something I'm not sure of. So I must provide a question before. So I have to get rid of B and choose D. Grammatically, B is correct, D is correct. But which one fits in the context here, guys? In the context, I must provide a question because of find out. Michael was determined to find out. It means what was before is a question and he wants to find the answer of this question. But if I write it as a statement, the blueberries could thrive. This is an answer. So I stated the answer. How would I say that Michelle was determined to find out? This is nonsense now. So logically, I need a question to make that portion fits here, guys. So I must choose answer choice D. Could the blueberries thrive? Ziad, go ahead, Ziad.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam.
Mr. Now, the semicolon act like a comma and the fanboys, right? Comma fanboys,
Okay.
right?
So go on, ask your question. I will clarify everything for you. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just making sure like the semicolon is the same as comma fanboys. They act the same.
Well, see, guys, that is the semicolon. What comes before the semicolon must be independent. What comes after the semicolon must be independent. The two independent clauses must be related. Independent clause 1 must provide piece of information 1. Independent clause 2 must provide a new piece of information. New piece of information. Here, when it comes to the rule of the comma fanboys, we have to be very careful. Comma fanboys. What comes before is independent and what comes after is independent. But the usage is different. Can I use comma for the same way I use comma and or comma but or comma so? No, it depends on the relationship between the two independent clauses. If we have contradiction, for example, if I have contradiction between independent clause 1 and independent clause 2, I write comma but between them. Can I replace that, Muhammad or Ziad, sorry? Can I replace that with a semicolon?
No.
No. This is the distinction. Okay? So I can't say that the semicolon equals comma and. It equals comma and. But does it equal comma but? Does it equal comma so? No. Here, guys, what comes after the semicolon expands on what comes before the semicolon. Expands does not mean explain. No. If what comes after explains what comes before, we need colon, not semicolon, of course. So here, that is like the third case. Independent clause 1, independent clause 2. We find that independent clause 2 just explains independent clause 1. So we go for colon or dash. So, and what comes after, I do not provide a new piece of information. No, I just explain the same piece of information before. So if this is the case, I go for colon or dash. So I do not like the generalization, like the semicolon equals comma, fanboys. That is inaccurate generalization. I can say semicolon equals comma and. But that is not accurate to say semicolon equals comma but. We are talking about grammatical equality when it comes to independent before, independent after, yes. But are they like, can I replace semicolon with comma but? No. You got that?
Yeah.
Well. Here we go, 23, guys. Go ahead. So here we go. Okay, Mamoon will explain that and I'll take a question after the explanation. So this question is tailored for the hasty guys. If you are hasty, you would think this way. 1963 past, I choose was. If you are hasty, we have rules for verb tense questions. When it comes to verb tense questions, you must look for a clue. Mr. Ahab, I have many clues. I have some clues in the same sentence I'm tested on, and some other clues before, other clues after. The priority is for the clues in the same sentence you are tested on. For example, that is our sentence. It begins with the word today, it ends in the word artist. So today indicates a present in English language. So today is no doubt. That's it. Mr. Ahab, what if I found out that the dominant tense before the sentence is past and the dominant tense after the sentence is future? Forget about what comes before, what comes after. The priority is for clues from the sentence you are tested on. When do you need to read what comes before, what comes after? If you do not find any clues at all in the sentence. You do not find any other verb phrase. You do not find any clues like the expressions today, now, in the past, in 2029. I didn't find any of these at all. So I have to read what comes before, what comes after to figure out the dominant tense. But as long as you already have some clues in the sentence you are tested on, forget about the other clues. Today is present. Today makes shift in tense. What comes before is past, no doubt. In 1963, This is past, but sometimes I provide the expressions that make shift in tense, like today. So do I insist on like using the past? No, we have today. Today changes everything. So the dominant is going to be present now. So I choose D. That's it. So that is pure tense question. Pure tense question. Well, question 24. Give it a try. Well, here we go. Rahaf. Explain it, Rahaf. Ahmed.
Yes, sir. What comes before is independent and what comes after is independent. So A will cause a run-on, B will cause a comma splice, and D a run-on too. And that and placement is wrong. So the only correct answer is C. Separated by a full
Marvelous.
stop.
Marvelous. So see, guys, I must write the grammatical equation and everything gonna be very easy for me. See, the first computerized spreadsheet, then Bricklin's VisiCalc improved financial record keeping not only by providing users with an easy means of adjusting data and spreadsheets, but also by automatically updating all calculations that were depending on these adjustments. I can figure out it as independent structure. Independent structure. I have element now. I do not know whether this element prior to VisiCalc's release belongs to the sentence before or the sentence after, okay? I must read what comes after to figure out the type. Changing a paper spreadsheet often required redoing the entire sheet by hand. This is another independent clause. And I have something in between, which is prior to VisiCalc's release. So I must think of this question this way. Let's scrutinize the answer choices. If you choose A, you will be separating the independent before from the independent after with this comma. See, guys, from the independent before to the independent after, you will see this comma. So you have this structure, independent, and another independent, and the only separation between these two independent structures is this comma. Can it be correct? No. I get rid of it. The second answer choice, if you choose it, you will be doing that. Independent, independent. We already have comma here and another comma there. So you will end up with this, independent, comma, comma, independent. Can it be correct? No, of course. The rule is independent. Independent. 1 comma, wrong. 2 commas, wrong. 3, wrong. Million commas in between 2 independent clauses, wrong. Commas can never separate independent clauses at all. I can separate independent clauses using period, colon, dash, semicolon, comma, fanboys, semicolon conjunctive adverb, comma, still I use the semicolon. So all of these are correct. But commas, no. But Mr. Ahab, we have two commas. 1 comma, 2 commas, million commas, that will not work at all. Commas can never separate two independent clauses. I must find any of these. See, I find that in answer choice C. If I choose C, I will be separating independent from another independent using a period. Can it be correct, Mr. Ahab? Of course it can be. But Mr. Ahab, I cannot find logical justification for this comma. So why do we have this comma? This is the rule. Independent clause, period, and that is another independent clause. Can I start a new structure, a new sentence with a prepositional phrase? Yes, I can. Can I write participial phrase at the beginning? Of course I can, but make sure you write comma after. So you can start a new structure by a prepositional phrase, participial phrase, but separate that introductory element, the phrase before, from the independent with a comma like this one. That's why we have this one. It separates the introductory element prior to VisiCalc's release from the independent clause that comes after changing a paper spreadsheet of required redoing the entire sheet by hand using that. So we have the correct separation here, period, independent is okay. If I choose answer choose, they will end up with that. Independent. The only separation will be this comma. Can it be correct? No. So grammatical equations, we have grammatical equations, guys.
Sure.
Ma'moon, yes, go ahead, Ma'moon.
Sir, I have a question regarding the most confusing questions in grammar, which is when I have two independent clauses separated with the conjunction in the middle. There's a huge confusion with regards with the punctuation used. Should it be between two commas?
Just wait.
Should it be
Conjunction or conjunctive adverb, you have to be pinpoint.
no conjunctive adverb, like rather, like however?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
that's what I mean. So, if you
Yeah.
could just explain it real quick,
Of course.
I'll be thankful.
Yeah, sure. Well, guys, all of you pay attention. The question is very important and you will see it tomorrow, no doubt. You will see that tomorrow. Regarding the conjunctive adverbs like however, nevertheless, nonetheless, rather is an adverb as well. We have a new case. And you will see this case tomorrow, no doubt. The case is Mu'min. I'll discuss it with you, Mu'min. Keep your microphone switched on.
Okay.
What is the function? Let's take however as an example, okay?
Okay.
What is the function of however in English?
However, is usually used for contrast. When you have two ideas, you can contrast them.
100% correct. Excellent. That is contradictory. Okay? If the contradiction is between the clause before and the clause after, between what comes before, what comes after, like, I didn't study. before, I got the full mark after. What is the relationship between what comes before and what comes after now? مؤمن.
Contradiction.
Excellent, great. If the contradiction is between what comes before, what comes after, you have to punctuate the adverb this way. Semicolon before, comma, after. Okay?
Mm.
Or period before, capitalize the adverb, comma after, so the contradiction will be between what comes before, what comes after. This is correct as well. If the contradiction relationship is between what comes before, what comes after, I have these two cases. Okay?
Okay.
Well, let's get to the most important part now. What if I find this thingy? However, here, I read what comes before, I read what comes after. No contradiction. Between what comes before and what comes
After.
after, right? No contradiction. You may find that what comes after explains what comes before, right? So, why do I write however? However is a contradictor. If this is the case between what comes before, what comes after, there is no contradiction, then the contradiction will be between two clauses before or two sentences before. It has nothing to do with what comes after at all. Forget about what comes after. So the contradiction will be between two sentences before or two clauses before. The before one and the before two. Okay?
Okay.
The before one, the before two. So here you will find the contradiction between these two. So we will find the contradiction between the two previous clauses or two previous sentences. How can I punctuate however now? I have three cases. Case number one, period here. The most of the time you will find comma before. Period. So case number one, remember that. Case number one, comma, however, period. Then what comes after? Case number two, comma, however, semicolon. Case number three, comma, however, colon. First of all, you must know that if you find, however, punctuated this way, as in this case is 1, 2, or 3, it means that the contradiction is not between what comes before and what comes after. Okay, Mu'min? The case is, or Ma'mun, sorry. The contradiction will be between the two previous sentences or clauses.
Clauses.
Well, I'll ask you a question now. Can you figure out when do we write comma, however, period? When do we write comma, however, semicolon? When do we write comma, however, colon? It depends on what?
It depends on the clauses used. If there's contradiction between a clause before, however, and after, however, then we use period before comma and then comma after, however.
Well, see now and pay attention because this is a very critical point. Now we say if I see, however, punctuated as 1, 2, 3, the contradiction will be between the two previous sentences, clauses or
Yes.
sentences, right? So we have contradiction here between these two. Now I will choose the period if the clause after has nothing to do with the clause before, however. No relationship at all. When do we use period in English? If what comes before is independent and what comes before or what comes after is independent as well, and no relationship between them, right?
Right.
And that is the difference between independent, period independent, and independent, semicolon independent. When do I use independent, semicolon independent? If the two clauses are related, right?
Right.
When do I use colon? If the second independent explains the first independent, right?
Right.
So, Mr. Ahab, I found out that the contradiction is between the two previous sentences, and I have 3 answer choices. Comma, however, period, comma, however, semicolon, comma, however, colon. Which one should I choose? Now, this is very important task. Read what comes after, the clause after. If you found out that the clause after explains the clause before, write colon after, however. If you found out that the clause after provides second piece of information about the clause before, then you need semicolon. The usage of semicolon we are familiar with. If you found out that what comes after has nothing to do with what comes before, go for comma, however, period. This is the case of conjunctive adverbs. So we have easy case, which is contradiction between what comes before, what comes after the adverb. So I must choose the answer choice with the semicolon, however, comma, or period, however, comma. This is easy. Everybody knows it. The second case, if there is no contradiction between what comes before, what comes after, you have to choose one of these cases. Comma, however, period, you can choose comma, however, semicolon, or comma, however, colon. Which one I choose? I must read what comes after. If what comes after explains what comes before, colon. If what comes after provides second piece of information about what comes before, semicolon. If what comes after starts a new idea, new focus, I write comma, however, period. That's it. These are all the cases. You still have a question, Ma'moon?
No, it's clear. Can you just scroll down? I want to take a picture.
Okay. Well, guys, feel comfortable asking any question.
Sir, I'm sorry. Are we going to solve any reading questions today?
Yes. Well, here we go. Now, guys, question 25. Give it a try. Here we go. Great, guys. Rahaf. Why B, Rahaf?
Because would is a common for both the verbs
What?
increase
Yes.
and create.
So that is parallelism mainly. The sentence must be written this way, guys. The look would increase and it must be written like that and would create. It would create. So can I write would creates? Does it make sense for those guys who chose A? Can I write the look would increase and would creates? No. After the helping verb, I must go for the base form. So would create. We don't like repetition on SAT. I already wrote would, so no need to repeat it. So it must be the look would increase and create. That's why I choose B. Well, guys, question 26. It is a very easy question if you think of it the right way. Give it a try. Go ahead. Omar Abdullah,
Yes, sir.
why did you choose D, Omar? Correct answer.
Because
For what reason?
commercial plastics is what we're talking about, being cheap versus versatile. That's where you have to use it like just after the comma, and then like we start the sentence with this, and we can
So that
also like
is
then we have a colon and a list. We have a list after that. That's why I used colon. That's why I chose the answer D.
well, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Mainly, guys, this is the English modified question. So how did we know that you have participial phrase, prepositional phrase before comma? Then it's almost dangling modifier. So I must read this introductory element carefully. And I ask, what can it describe? And I figured out the subjects. If there are like two problems, I'm talking about problems in answer choice B. I'm talking about problems in answer choice C. I'm talking about plastics in answer choice D. I read despite being cheap. What can I describe as cheap? The problems? No, of course. So I have to get rid of A, B, C. Dangling modifier issue. So what can be described as cheap? Plastics? Yes, I can describe plastics as cheap. So I choose the very easy dangling modifier ratio. Well, question 27. Give it a try. Well, great, guys. Habiba, explain it.
Okay, Mr. First of all, we said that we can separate a name, neither a title.
Occupation
That's
from an
first.
yeah.
Should I continue?
Yes.
Okay, and also we said we can't separate the subject from its verb. So A and B and D are wrong, so the answer is C.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. So plant cell biologist, and that is the verb. Yes, I cannot separate the subject from a verb with a comma, dash, colon, semicolon. I can never do that. So answer choice B is out, and answer choice A as well. We have another rule, no separation between the occupation and the name. So D is wrong as well. So C is the best answer. Yes, correct, Ziyad Khalid. Transition question 28. Give it a shot. Well, thank you. Well, here we go. All of you pay attention. Here, guys, I have continuer, for instance, Lincoln general and specific, however, contradictor, and similarly continuer when there is similarity between like two cities, two countries, two people, two animals, and as a result is cause and effect word. And we know how to check the cause and effect by applying the why because technique. If the why because technique works, then I need cause and effect word, know that. Well, here, guys, what comes before is specific and what comes after is general. Because spatula is part of the spiders, so I cannot use for instance, or for example, or specifically. That is the worst answer it choose. Okay, no contradiction relationship at all. No difference, no contrast between what comes before and what comes after, so I cannot choose. However, similarly cannot be similarly because what comes before is a specific and what comes after is general. If this is the case, it cannot be similarly. The similarity can be between like two animals, right? Two cities, two people, two things. But can I compare like my hand with myself? No, it cannot be, right? Can I compare color? Can I compare red to colors? No. So that is specific and that is general. So the similarity will be between, for example, France before, Italy after, John before, Sarah after. We are talking about similarity now, but here, guys, we are not talking about similarity. because we are still talking about the same species. We are talking about spiders. So it can be like spiders, and the subject of the previous sentence is scorpions. So scorpions, spiders, I highlight similarity, I choose similarly, okay. But the spatula belongs to spiders, so it cannot be C, of course. It is as a result of a cause and effect word, so I may ask. This little guys, I have problem with some. So if I apply the why because technique, I would find that it works. Why spiders? So I write why here. Why? And I ask if what comes before provides the logical justification, then it works. Why not? Why spiders are able to climb almost any surface? For what reason? If what comes before now provides me with the logical justification, then 100% it is correct. For what reason spiders are able to climb almost any surface? Because these specialized temporarily bond with the atoms of whatever they touch. That's why spiders are able to climb almost any surface. Yes, that is the cause and effect relationship. That's why I choose as a result. Question 28 now. Give it a try, guys. Go ahead. No problem, Rahaf. It is fine. Well, guys, let's explain it. See, transition question. So I have to figure out the relationship between what comes before and what comes after. And what comes before, I say she was studying firsthand the color, study original style of Francis, modernist masters, and beginning to make a name for herself as a painter. So we are talking about her stay in Paris, and that is very positive, as I say that she started to make a name for herself as a painter. What an achievement in Paris. Great achievement in Paris. What comes after now? To our surprise, we are shocked to know that after the achievement in Paris, Shergill longed to return to India. What? How come? After the great achievements in Paris, you want to go back to India? That is contradiction, no doubt. That is contradiction. So the relationship between what comes before and what comes after is contradiction. You may ask, why do we write negative? Like feeling longing to your homeland is a good thing. In this text, guys, it is no good thing. Of course, after like achieving such thing in Paris, and you still want to return to your childhood home of India, it is weird. So we say that there is contradiction relationship. The only contradictor I see is A still, therefore is cause and effect, of course, and indeed is a continuer, and furthermore is a continuer. What is the difference between indeed and furthermore? Raise hand for me. What is the difference between these two continuers? Hussein Al-Aidaros, go ahead, Hussein.
Indeed is used to emphasize, and
Correct.
furthermore is used to add information.
100% correct. Using indeed means I will emphasize what I already stated. I almost will repeat what I already stated. I will reiterate. I will repeat. to emphasize. I use indeed or in fact for the purpose, while furthermore indicates I will add a new piece of information. I provide a piece of information about England. This is piece of information one, so I will write second piece of information about England. While using indeed, I write piece of information. Excuse me. I wrote a piece of information about England, and then what comes after, I will repeat. I will say almost the same thing, maybe using different words, but that is the same thing. Well, so here we have contradiction case, so we choose A. Another question, guys. Question 30, transition question. Give it a try. Explain it, Ahmed Ibrahim.
Okay, Mr. We choose here similarly because similarly it talks about two effects or both effects.
Here we are talking about a situation in San Francisco and
Similarity between
another
two
one in Los
factors.
Angeles, right?
Yes.
So the task now is to figure out whether these two situations are similar or different, right? So here, guys, and what comes before the situation in San Francisco, the women's suffrage party, change the color of the highlights. Yes, sir. The women's suffrage party sold equality tea at local fairs. And then what comes after in Los Angeles, activity Nancy Tull Craig, who ran one of California's largest grocery store firms, distributed votes for women tea. That is the same thing. We are talking about the same activity done in two different cities, two different states. So there is a similarity case. We have to choose similarly to link the two similar activities. So we choose 30. Then also questions, we usually do that technique, guys. We read the heading. The student wants to compare the length of two real tunnels. Which answer choice provides comparison? It must be comparison between the two real tunnels. You choose now, guys. Give it a shot. Well, here we go, because you know what, Ziad, we have like our own technique. It is not important to read these notes. If you focus on the heading only, you will end up with choosing the right answer, no doubt. For example, Ahmed Ibrahim, you want to explain, Ahmed?
Yes, Mr. Okay, he say he wanted to compare the names of two. So is because the word shorter first. Because the word
Here.
is shorter and also 33 miles along.
Compare means comparison, comparative style. Like I must find words like more than, shorter, longer. That's a comparison, right?
Yes.
In answer choice B, as Ahmed Ibrahim said, we have the comparison stated clearly by using the ER. Shorter. Do I compare now? See, the Seikan Tunnel is roughly 33 miles long, while the other one, do we talk about one or two here in answer choice B? We are talking about two tunnels. So yes, that is correct. Do we compare the two tunnels? Because the test maker asks us to compare them. Yes, we compare. What is your evidence? Because of the word shorter. So we are mentioning two tunnels, Second tunnel and Channel Tunnel. That's why answer choice B correct. Answer choice A. What is so wrong about A? Some of the world's real tunnels, including one tunnel that extends from Folkestone, England to France, I will not go on reading, because it provides a piece of information about one tunnel, including one tunnel. So I provide information about one tunnel. While the test maker asks me to choose the answer that contains comparison between two, not just one. So A is wrong. Answer choice C, the second tunnel, which is roughly 33 miles long, connects. I will not go on reading because it provides information about one tunnel, not two. So answer choice C is wrong. Both the second tunnel, which is located in Japan, and Channel Tunnel, which is located in Europe, are examples of real tunnels. This answer choice is the trap choice. For what reason? Because we have here both, so it means I'm talking about both of them, but no comparison. No comparison, then that is totally wrong. So yes, I have the mentioning the two tunnels, but I do not compare them. What the test maker asks me to compare. So I cannot choose D, I end up with B. This one now, guys. Question 32. The student wants to provide an explanation and example, both explanation and an example. If an answer choice just gives explanation with no example, wrong. Gives example with no explanation, wrong. It must be both. Go ahead, give it a try. Well, Munib.
Yes, I think it's B because it provides both an explanation and example. The explanation, it shows that the term fauna is a combination of the words flora and fauna.
Combination of the words, yes. We now this is definition. So we apply now this, yeah, great. And the example.
And the example is like such as a parrot with leaves for feathers.
100% correct. Thank you so much. Genius. That is the example. Such as, after such as, we find the example. such as parrot with leaves for feathers. So answer choice B. We have the definition of the term, explanation. Do we provide example? Yes, that is the example after the word such as. And answer choice A, guys, the term flyway used by Los Angeles-based painter is combination of the words. Okay, but no example. And answer choice A, no example. And answer choice C, John Chang, who created something that refers to the subjects of his as no example, no explanation. No example, no explanation, answer choice C. The subjects of the lecture and remember all are types of a term that use pen and creators John uses when describing his surreal artworks. Well, here, guys, I say that is a term that the painting's creator used when describing his surreal artwork. Okay, till now, I didn't figure out the explanation of the term. You say that this is a term. Okay, can you provide the explanation of the term? No explanation at all. No example. You may say, Mr. Ayab, we have two examples here. No, these are paintings, not examples. We need examples of Lona, guys. So these are examples of the paintings. So in answer choice D, no explanation, no examples. Answer choice B provides explanation. What is fauna? Combination of the words flora and fauna. And do we have example? The parrot with leaves for feathers. Answer choice B, of course, no doubt. So B wins. That question now. The student wants to emphasize the uniqueness of the accomplishment of a person. Uniqueness means you are the only one who did that. Only one. Someone else did that. I cannot describe the work as unique. It cannot be. Well, give it a try. Well, here we go. Without reading the notes, guys, I can answer the question, of course. Emphasize the uniqueness of someone's achievements. Taylor fled to St. Simon's Island, which was then occupied by the Union Army, for whom she began working. Okay. If you escaped, fled, millions would do that. So no indication here of uniqueness. You say that she did that, she ate pizza. Does it indicate uniqueness? Maybe like millions or billions do that daily. So that does not indicate uniqueness at all. After escaping slavery, like millions did that as well. No indication of uniqueness here. The book Taylor wrote, but the time she spent with the regiment is still available. Hey, thousands of other authors wrote many books. You didn't indicate something so distinct of the book. When answer choice D, Taylor was the only, the word only is enough to choose the only indicates uniqueness. She was the only Black woman to do something, uniqueness, of course. That's why D is correct. Well, just wait.